with viral YouTube sensation KSI having a couple of white collar boxing matches, and then having that colossal pro boxing match against Logan Paul, which you were actually in the corner of, and worked alongside Leon Wills as his strength and conditioning coach. What are your thoughts on how he performed on the night against Logan Paul?
Man, listen, KSI did an amazing job. I didn't know what I was going to inherit or what was going to come my way.
Hmm.
And I am a true professional boxing trainer, strength conditioning coach. So I've trained with guys at the highest level, winning multiple world titles. So when the opportunity presented to me that they wanted me to work with KSI, I was a little hesitant.
Yeah.
And I was hesitant is because at that time, at that moment, the YouTube sensation for boxing hadn't really entered. KSI was one of the quote unquote pioneers, him and Logan Paul, of doing that.
Hmm.
And
Definitely, yeah.
I was nervous that in me taking the opportunity that it may take away from how my professionals and coworkers looked at me.
Yeah.
Maybe they may not continue to take me serious because I'm a very strong professional in what I do, and I carry a large level of professionalism in what I do. So I was a little concerned. But once I got the young man and I had an opportunity to be in front of him, man, he really impressed me because he really worked his ass off. He really was mentally focused, and I'm not easy.
Hmm.
And he worked, the work I needed him to do, and not only just physically but mentally, and bring out the dog for that night. And that was really the theme for the whole fight leading into it. And I was really proud of the work that he did, not only to prepare for that fight, but also the courage he presented and the effort he presented the night of the fight.
Yeah, that's totally understandable to like not be sure if you want to train with this guy. You don't really know what he has to bring. He's a YouTuber, quote unquote, right? So you don't really know exactly what he has. So
Especially with
understandable.
that being his first pro fight.
Well, it's not
Hmm.
just that. I think about
Yeah.
in the West, it wasn't something that had ever been done before at that level. We're talking about the first time these two YouTubers, they're the main event at the Staples Center, one of the largest
Yeah.
venues in the United States. And nothing like that had ever happened before. And it had only happened overseas. So I was even questioning it myself, like, how are these two guys going to come here and be the main event?
Yeah. And ahead of
Hmm.
guys like Devin Haney and Billy Joe Saunders, it was.
They were undercard, and these guys only did, a few rounds, do, you know, 10, 12 rounds. They're doing 6 rounders. So I was very grateful once I got on the team because I'm not the kind of guy that only works with certain people. I will work with anyone as long as they're putting forth the effort and I have the time. So
Yeah.
for got in front of him and I realized what kind of hard worker he was and how committed he was to the craft, man, I couldn't help but to commit and give 100% to what he was doing. And I'm grateful that he allowed me to be part of that team. I learned a lot that camp for sure.
Hmm. And while you were in that camp, obviously working on strength and conditioning aspects, what were some of the main things in the camp that you really drove and prioritized while working with KSI?
Well, one of the things about me as a strength conditioning coach or just a coach in general is really good at physically getting a guy prepared, but I think bring more value in bringing guys mental to a place where they're
Hmm.
prepared, confidence. That's where most of my athletes value me the most, they say, because I can get them physically ready, but mentally with me, they feel like they can do anything. And I think what I had to do with KSI, convince him of how great he was as not as a YouTuber, not as a fighter, but as a person and how all these things transfer over in the same way he's been able to place himself in the YouTube world and be, semi-dominant in his, content and his impression on the world. That same energy, that same worth ethic, if you transfer that over to boxing, the same thing will happen. And I
Yeah.
think that's key for him. And what I kept saying to him is, listen, you got to bring that dog out of you. Everybody has it. You got it. Let's go get it. And everybody feel that. And that was the real push. So the whole time I'm like, we got to get that dog. We got to get that dog. And he showed that.
Yeah. And
Yeah, and you
and
can definitely see it with the build up. You can see how much his confidence just grew and grew until
Correct.
the lead up to the fight.
yeah, and bringing out that dog mentality was something that was very crucial in the fights, and probably one of the main reasons that he was able to get his hand raised on the night and was victorious. He had so much heart, and him getting up from those illegal blows as well. There was a lot
Right.
going into that. So Do you see him making a return to the ring eventually? And do you think you'd be open to working with him again?
I do believe that he will return at some
Hmm.
point. Um, I don't feel like he's in a space where he has to. He's still very successful
Yeah.
out of boxing. He was very successful before boxing. So he's not in a space where he has to do anything.
Hmm.
I think that if when he makes that return, it's going to be when he's ready to and he feels like there's something he wants to accomplish for himself. As far as me being on that team again, if he gives me the call, you can guarantee I will be on that team because
Hmm.
he is the type of person I would like to work with as far as worth ethic, integrity, and that's really big for me. So yeah, if that phone call ever came, I definitely would answer it and come to the call.